This is my setup for when I'm practicing double bass and I don't want to disturb my parents or whatever. Or I'm away from the drum set or so, for whatever reason, and I'm not behind the drum set. And what we got here is my Pearl 122 TW pedal. A great smooth pedal for a pretty decent price. I'm wearing a Onitsuka Tiger Mexico 66 shoes. Really nice, comfortable shoes. Try the grip there. They're really grippy. If you're a drummer that likes a lot of grip, definitely these shoes. Or the Ultimate 81s, the Onitsuka Ultimate 81s. I have a pair of those as well in my closet. I mainly use slide technique. These shoes make it a little bit difficult on this pedal, but when I use slide, I don't slide up that much. You know, and if you play heel toe, this pedal is actually really good for heel toe because I don't know if you see it. See how the heel plate there is kind of rounded? Really good for when you're rocking your heel. You actually don't need to be up on the chin. I actually can't do heel toe up here. I prefer to do it back there. For double bass, I'm using what's called the flat foot technique. Your foot's not really flat, but my foot sometimes actually gets a little flat on the pedal when I get fast enough. Like that fast. Like if I'm going that fast, my foot's pretty damn close to flat. What you want to do is, like, say you're in high school, you got an exam coming up, and you know you're just gonna bomb it. You know, you haven't studied it at all. You're really nervous. Not that I condone bombing a test or anything, but you know. So you kind of got this little twitch going in your leg. You know, that twitch in your leg that your girlfriend really gets bugged about. But yeah, that twitch. It's the same muscle groups. Like in your ankles here. The same muscle groups making that happen. You just transfer those muscle groups to the pedal. When you first starting out doing this, it's going to feel really awkward. And if it feels incredibly awkward, you're doing it right. It still actually feels a little bit awkward to me on my left foot, but I'm still working on it. One thing you'll notice right away is that your knee will also move. That is totally fine if it does. You know, some people think it's all ankles to get to this speed, but it's not. You can see there. My knee is also moving. If it was all ankle, which I can demonstrate if you want. If it was all ankle, you just don't get the same kind of power as if you add the knee. So it's kind of a combination of, it's mostly ankle, but it's also, you're adding some knee into it. Like the whole, it's kind of, your knee is also helping with the downward force. This is really hard to explain, but it's one of those things you gotta kind of feel it out. Because sometimes when you get to speed like this, you'll end up like not playing really fast, and then your ankles burn out, and then you have nothing, you know? That's where your knee comes in. As you can also see, I'm not like all the way up on the pedal up here. I'm not all the way back down here, because the only time you really play up here is when you're playing kind of slow double bass. Like, great to play up there. You have great control, great power. For those kind of speeds, yeah, play up there all day long, man. For that speed, not up here. I mean, if you're one guy where, like, if you're a guy where, see, the throne here, where you kind of sit back on the throne, where like the first part of your leg here is kind of resting on the throne, and you could play up there, and if you sit up high enough, you could play up there and get some speed, but you're not gonna be really comfortable up there all the time. You can't. And your leg's gonna be kind of raised, so you lose some control when you're doing other work down here, you know. It's how you normally sit, with your hip flexor kind of like on the edge of the seat. And What's nice about this pedal is that it has these little dots in the lines here, like these lines and these dots. I generally keep the edge of my shoe, as you can probably tell, like between like there and like there. Generally keep it there. That's a sweet spot for me. Every pedal is different, and finding that sweet spot on the pedal is, it's kind of hard. It's generally it's generally towards like the middle here, or like up here is where like your toe would be, but like for the ball of your foot, you want to be kind of like in the middle there. See, the ball of my foot's like right here, so about the ball of your foot would probably want to be right there. It's like your fulcrum point. It's like on a stick. It's just like on a stick. You just have to kind of experiment. Just like start with this. Like it's picking your whole leg up with that twitchy motion, with those ankle muscles moving up and down like this. Like start from like the heel plate, moving up, and just kind of search around for it. And you'll know when you found it, because you'll find everything will kind of get easier, and you'll have power as well as ease of motion. That's the sweet spot right there. I tend to play a little higher because I have my spring tension. I would say I have my spring tension tight. I'd say I have it medium, because for a tight spring tension makes it really hard to do slide technique. So I've kind of done a lot of fiddling and found that happy spot with the spring tension. So just fiddle around with it, Some things you want to be aware of before you even sit behind the kit and start doing this. Make sure your throne is right in between. As you can see, I'm a little off here. And make sure your throne is perfectly in between the two pedals. Make sure they have even angle and all that. You want everything balanced. You want to feel completely balanced when you come and sit down on here. You want to feel completely balanced, because your left foot isn't on a hi-hat to kind of anchor you here. Another thing you can try is that you can try raising your throne up a bit so that your leg here has a slight downward angle. I have a bit of an extreme one. That's what's comfortable for me. Might not be comfortable to you, but fiddle around with it, see what works for you. Also, you try backing up from the drum set. If you play up on the kit like this, if you have good enough technique, you can make it work. But like for me, doing this, I can't do this all day. I've tried it. I just can't do it all day. For me, sitting back a little bit actually helps me. It helps me get the ankle motion going a little easier. Another thing you want to make sure you do is sit up nice and straight. Don't slouch down. What you want to try to do is kind of flex your abdominal muscles right here. That'll actually help you balance your upper body. It's like, think of your hips as a bowl. You want to lift your spine and your upper body out of that bowl. And I'm doing that right now, and as you can notice, the camera is a little steadier than it was before. That definitely helps me, and it's also good for your posture too. You don't want to be slouching when you're drumming. If you're like in school or whatever at work, and you're bored or you're just doing something real tedious, you can do this, and you do this on the floor. I actually do this all day. It drives my girlfriend crazy that I do this. But yeah, I do this a lot, And if noise isn't such a problem, pick your whole foot up. When you're doing this, don't worry about what your feet look like. If your feet look like this, feet look like this, feet look like this. If your feet somehow zigzag across the pedal, but you got this motion going, beats sound great, then who cares what it looks like, as long as it sounds good, right? Have fun practicing. Leave comments below if you have any questions or comments.